Yeah, we're live, 9:56. It is in the morning. Your morning motivation. Please get something done on your project. Somebody actually just sent me an email over about an old Achieva, I think it was, with a quad foreign that was for sale, which is very cool. So thanks for sending that out. I wish that I had money to go buy stuff like that. That would be very cool. But alas, I do not. If only I had Cletus money, that'd be good. Then you could go buy all kinds of crazy stuff. But it would be cool to have a quad 4 car. Just and it is a. I think it is. It was a. I think it was a manual trans too, which is the only way that I would have it. I wouldn't buy an old quad 4 with an automatic. Don't like small 4-cylinder cars with automatics. Maybe with a turbo, but probably not. It's much funner to drive with a manual trans, like the GLH. So I would rather get that done and then get this year. So make sure you hold me to it. The Z and the Mustang, both going to be running, driving. And I'm thinking not by the end of the year. I'm thinking by summer. So we got stuff to do. Today we're going to talk about the Kenne supercharger that I have up on the thumbnail, and that in my opinion was one of the smartest things that Jim and the guys at Kenne ever did was machine and polish and paint this mock-up blower so people could, like me, could use it for stories back in the day and then videos later on, because it's so good visually. It photographs so well and stuff, and the images are fantastic. Plus, it shows you exactly what a twin screw supercharger does and why it differs from the air movers of a typical root supercharger that just grabs air from one side and moves it to the other. The twin screw actually has internal compression, which a lot of root supporters will tell you, oh yeah, that's why it's so hot. No, that's actually why it's better. That's why if you look up any SAE paper ever written about superchargers, they will tell you that the twin screw really is a much better design than a roots blower. Roots blowers have evolved since most of these papers were written. I'm sure that there are modern things. I just haven't read them yet. And roots blowers have become better, but what they've done is evolved more toward the twin screws. Like we see the instead of a 2-lobe, it's a 3-lobe, and now we see probably they might have 4 lobes. I think they have now twisted the lobes. Because engineers know what works, and so that's what they're trying to do. But the cool thing about it is that the guys from Kenne, the supercharger company, is going to, I think, reintroduce a 5-liter kit. Maybe it's changed. What I'm hoping is that and I don't have access to this information yet, but I'm hoping that they might do an intercooler with it would be good. Maybe a bigger bypass valve. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen when they upgrade it. But I just think it's cool to see these old OG like 5-liter kits still up and running and working and making power and reintroduced. And although you would think that there are that all of the possible 5-liter Ford Mustangs and other cars, Lincolns and T-Birds and those kinds of things, that they use this motor in trucks, you'd think that all of those that could ever have been modified have already been modified. But it's just like with carburetors. Hasn't every small block Chevy already gotten a Holley carburetor? But no, they sell lots and lots of carburetors for lots and lots of applications. So that continues to be a thing. So I like that that's continuing to be a thing. I like that the 5-liter Mustang that ushered in the new performance era for Ford. I like that that people are still modifying them and doing stuff with them, and especially now that they're not cheap. So I'm excited about getting mine running again. We're going to do some stuff with it. We're going to do some emissions legal stuff with it, and then get it back on the road and stuff. So Maximum Motorsport guys, if you guys are out there, I would very much like to do something with you guys on the suspension for that Mustang. It has some kind of suspension on it now, but I really like the Maximum Motorsport stuff. So Maximum Motorsport guys, if you guys are listening, let me know. That this car we've done a lot of stuff with this. I road raced it in showroom stock. I raced it in a sedan. I raced it in 12 silver states. I did umpteen million things with this. Raced it down in a very cool race down from in a road rally down in Mexico City. We went from Mexico City, I think, to Acapulco or something. But it was very, very cool. Anyway, lots of fun. So I'd like to do that, but we're probably going to do something, probably going to go OG with it and go kind of back to the way that it was with the Vortec. Because I told the guys from Vortec, I wish they'd search through their stuff and find serial number 001. That would be way too awesome to have that original supercharger back on there. And I don't want a replated one. I want the original one. It was an A trim, and then it was upgraded to a B trim. And then I eventually gave it back to him after doing umpteen million, magazine stories and tests and things with it. So, but I like to see that original stuff happening. And the Kenne Bell stuff is very, very cool. Obviously, immediate boost response from a twin screw, positive displacement, very good. I would very much like they did with the 4.6 stuff, to incorporate an intercooler and also to incorporate bigger inlets into it. That's one of the things, having the mammoth intake manifolds, and then having the big 90 millimeter throttle body on the 5-liter, which was giant size for us back in the day, because you had a 65, 70, and 75, and then you had a 90, and then now they have these twin 105s, or these big mammoth oval ones and stuff. And so more airflow into the blower is better. And we know that the 5-liter platform, certainly a 351 version of that, would support a ton of power. So lots of good potential there. TVS chargers are 4 lobes with more twists. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, that they're them transitioning more toward a twin screw, because some of the twin screws, I think that the Whipples are a 3x5, and I think the Kenne Bells are 4x6 rotor packs. So they have different rotor packs in them. And then you change the length of the rotor pack and then the size of the rotors to change the displacement also. So they have displacements ranging. In the Kenne Bell stuff, they started out fairly small way back in the day with a 1.5. And in fact, that might have been what they used originally on the 5-liter kits. I ran a 2.1 with an adapter plate that I put on a 3800 V6 to replace the Eaton M90, which was a big upgrade for that. It immediately made a ton more boost and a ton more power. And we never even utilized everything that blower had the potential to offer, because we didn't run it back then with the 85. We didn't run it with water meth injection. I ran it with a stock cam. And also we had trouble with our management system, which way back then, Tom, who was working at West Tech, we were trying to make some sort of Tech 3, I think, work, an electromotive, and it was just it didn't work very well. So not like the stuff that we're like running a Holly now. And again, thanks to whoever showed us how to do the Holly so that Ish could hook it up and run the Holly on the 3800, whoever that was. Please, thank you very much for helping us out, getting the, once you connect the right wires, it all just works like magic, like wizardry. So let's see. Okay, who would pick a twin screw supercharger over a root blower? Let's get more specific. For their truck. Pow. And we're zinging. I was one of the Kenne Bell they made for the Dakota. They had lots of kits. I think they even had one for the 8.1. I remember talking to Mike over there, and he said, I think we did one for that motor also, and we don't have any more left. We haven't made them for a long time, but I think he was going to see if he could dig one up, which would be cool to be able to run one on the 8.1, especially if you could get a big enough supercharger with, like even a 2.8 is more than 1,000 horsepower. And so when you step up to the 3.2 or 3.6 or 4 liters or all the way up to 4.7s, I think is the biggest one they have, you can make 1 million horsepower with them. So Let's see what else we got going on. Z and the Mustang. Let's go 2LS swap, 2LS swap cars. The Z was originally slated to get the LS. In fact, I had one in there with a swap kit, but it's not in there anymore. Do you know if the dudes are shooting more Engine Masters episodes? Yes, they're doing that this week, as a matter of fact. Wire twin screws better than roots blowers, more boost, less heat. Yeah, they take the Kenne Bell specifically because they actually have a supercharger dyno that they run with a 500 horsepower LS motor to drive the superchargers, because some of these, they've recorded some of these, especially some of the roots blowers, when you spin them very fast and try to make a lot of flow and a lot of boost with them, they can require more than 300 horsepower to drive. So you have to have a fairly serious motor. That's why you can't just do it with a 40 or 50 horsepower electric motor. You know, you can run the blower in like that and make sure that it spins and that the bearings are working and all that. But you can't power test it. And so they're able to do that. So they can drive it and monitor exactly how much power it requires to spin the supercharger. Not just spin it, but they can, with their setup, they can adjust the speed that the blower is spinning. They can adjust the boost pressure going out of the blower at any given blower speed. And so you can determine the parasitic loss basically at any kind of combination that you want, which is really, really cool, because doing it in one combination of, you know, maximum boost and maximum airflow or whatever, doing it at one spot doesn't tell you the whole story about how well these things work. And they can also obviously monitor the temperature of the air going in, the temperature of the air going out, before the intercooler, after the intercooler, if you want to include an intercooler, all of that stuff. So it's really good data, and it's much better than actually doing it either on the street or on the track, because it gives you time to run these things at boost and stabilize them to see what they really do. There's a lot of stuff that happens like in a drag race. It's very forgiving. I mean, let's face it, in 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 seconds or whatever that you'd be running at the drag strip, you can get away with a lot of things. You can also run really, really high temperatures from the blower and run the blower much closer to its breaking point. Because one of the things that they found during the testing for these, particularly for the roots blowers, is if you run them for, let's say, a minute or more at near these higher power and flow levels, that you shear off the drive coupling on these things. They're not designed for that. The blower, obviously, some of these blowers like the TVS stuff and the root stuff that was designed for the factory stuff was designed to be run at the factory flow and pulley and speed levels, and not designed to be running 1.5 or 2 times that or more. And so, you know, it's not surprising that they would have problems when you're trying to essentially abuse them. So let's see what else else has got going on. Call the blower on a 471 or a 671 a supercharger to an old GM Detroit diesel mechanic, and they'll laugh at you. Honestly, I wouldn't care about that. Richard, a little late here. I talked to Mark Sanchez about the Kenne Bell Flowzilla. Any information on that? I don't know. I don't have specific information on the parts that are coming out. The Blowzilla and the Flowzilla. I wish I had a Kenne Bell anything. JMS Cortina. I've not had a chance to watch many videos recently as the tax signal from the distributor problem been fixed. Not on the 2.2 yet. I mean, we think it has when I go down there, but we don't know for sure until I test it. Tim, I had a Whipple. Yeah, same. Whipple's also a twin screw. A Magnuson is a root supercharger. A Whipple is a twin screw. I ran a blower shop 192 on my small block Chevy. I've run a few of those, not the 192. I ran a 174 and I ran a 250 and then a 420 also. Richard, I might be wrong, but why don't companies sell machined direct replacement 4-lobe rotor packs for 3-lobe blowers to fit the case? I don't know. I don't know if the case needs to be remachined for that. I don't know if the sizing is a direct replacement. I think a 671 with a pair of Hollies looks better on a truck made before 1980. So you want it sticking out of the hood. You want everybody to see it. You want to go all Mad Max on it. Would you ever recommend a blower over a turbo setup? Yeah, if I had a transmission in my truck that would take the power, I would rather have a positive displacement supercharger in my truck than a turbo for a daily driver application. Sprintech superchargers were twin screws. That's right. They had a side mount application for theirs that blew into the longer runner intake manifolds, which is probably honestly a better combination if that supercharger was capable. And I think with the Sprintex, you could also run an intercooler. So that would be an interesting comparison if you could side mount the blower and then run it into the longer runner manifold. Have you ever thought about running a drag and drive event? I have never thought about doing it. I don't know anything about it. People make fun of me for turboing my manual car because I lose boost when I shift. Wow. That's just silly. There are all sorts of turbocharged cars that are manual transmissions. I think Magnuson used to make a small blower kit for a gull wing. Oh, cool. A Whipple is a twin screw. But if yours was yours a PSI blower or was it a Whipple? Let's see how Poll is doing. 80% saying yes, they'd pick a twin screw over a roots blower. I remember I have lots of cool stories because I work with the guys from Kenne Bell a lot. And I remember they set me up with their data logging for one of the silver states. And this was all rocket science to me back in the day because we didn't have any of that. But we remember recording the data, and I can't remember what it was that we used. I can't remember what data logging that they used. But we were reading boost and charge temperature and throttle position. And I don't know if we were reading timing. We might have been. But we did it during the silver state. And I remember bringing it back to them. And they're looking at it. They're like, yeah, something happened with your TPS sensor. It malfunctioned or it broke or something. I'm like, why? What do you mean? They go, well, it's reading full throttle. It's reading 100% TPS for like 34 minutes. I said, well, but then what happened? They're like, yeah, then it came back. I guess it was stuck or something. I said, no, because that's how long I was at wide open throttle, at 100% throttle. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's what the silver state is. You take off, you accelerate through the gears, you get it at full throttle, and then you, at least for me, then you just go. And I try to take all the turns at full throttle and up until, because most of the turns at the beginning are these long sweeping things where you can see, miles in each direction. And then one of the straightaways is 8 or 10 or 12 miles long or whatever. So it's whatever it's going to do there, and then you've got to go up some hills and then down some hills. And you're really liking the downhill because you see a couple extra 100 RPM, and more speed and stuff. And then I said, and then when you come to the narrows that are posted for 35 miles an hour, you cannot take those at wide open throttle. So you definitely have to be on the brakes and downshifting and stuff for those. And they said, yeah. And then you went through those and then you went back to wide open throttle. I said, yeah, that's what was happening. They said, well, here's what your charge temperature was. And here's all the stuff. I'm talking to Sprintex right now to get a charger to swap out my M45 Eaton for their twin screw design. Mark, what do you have an M45 on? Is it like an old Jackson Racing one or something? Well, 20 degrees of duration and 62 thousandths more lift make a noticeable difference building the new engine. Yes, 20 degrees should make quite a bit of difference. Legend says Chuck Norris uses a 1471 for his hair dryer. That's right. Probably at least one, right? Hot Rod Magazine has their drag week, and it's a drag and drive event, and just had a sick week in Florida. I know what they are, and I know which ones they are, but I have nothing to do with Hot Rod Magazine or any of the other people that put any of these things on. It's just me. I prefer a turbo size small for truck application rather than a roots. You know, everybody has their thing. You go do what you got to do. And Tim, I'm glad you posted that thing that said instant 8 psi, because that's one of the conversations I had. I went into this off on this tangent on the data logging, but when I was working, I was doing a story with the guys from Kenne Bell, and I said, he said, well, here, take this for a ride, and I think it was a supercharged excursion or something. It was definitely a mod motor, and they said, go take it for a ride. And I said, well, while I was driving around, you know, you're like to get into boost and get into boost and get into boost. I said, well, I was performing a little experiment by myself. I was trying to see if I could get to wide open throttle by stomping on the gas before I see the boost gauge move into positive boost. And I never could. That's how instant the boost response was from a positive displacement supercharger. So, you know, it was a little super Richie data logging game that I was playing with myself. Waiting on the new TVS 3100. Yep, that should be good. And didn't Chuck Norris, didn't he hand crank it too? That'd be good. I think I still have the Muscle Mustangs magazine with the article called "The Flying Brick." Yep, it was. It's a little kind of arrow. I remember one year I went out there and I bought a whole body kit for it. So I bought a front air dam and side skirts, and then I even took rubber, basically rubber paneling about this big, you know, as a roll of it. And then so what I did was side skirted the whole car, and then extended the front air dam that they had, extended that all the way to the ground, so no air would get under it. And the car was slower. So I ended up taking it off, and then I couldn't, because my chase crew, who were just people that I was there with, had left. And so I took all these things off and I just left them in the hotel. I'm like, I can't carry them in my car while I'm driving. And so I'm not going to drive back and get them because I'm already 100 miles away or whatever. So I'm not backtracking to go get that. So I took them off. I just unscrewed them all, took them off, and left them there. So somebody from, I don't know, the housekeeping or whatever got some spoiler kit for their Mustang. Turbo 460. I don't even have a 460. My buddy and I did sick week with a few other drag weeks with Kenne Bell 47 on an LS 427. We have a problem keeping a belt on it. Yeah. Is it at least an 8-rib belt on there? I'm just starting with a tuning on my turbo square body tow rescue rig 468 with a GT45. Just take the timing out of it and add fuel. How many times did you run the Mustang in the summer state? 12 years in a row, I think. Tim, what's up? I'm running a Roush M90. I prefer twin screw, but at least I have boost. That's a way to look on the positive side. Love to see some testing in Roush's M90 variant. Big difference from the Eaton. That M90 is the one that people tell me about that makes so much power, because whenever I post the stuff on the little M90 that's on the V6, that the M90 that they're talking about for the Mustang, for the modular Fords, is a different blower, and it's a different inlet. It's just a whole different animal than they're comparing it to the M90 on the V6. I'm like, look, this will not do what that one does. Dave, I think about it. Oh, it's a 10 rib. Okay, even better, Deck. I think about a compound system, my 192 blower with a turbo system. Just been wondering about boost referencing what? Just referencing the map sensor. The map sensor should be in the manifold because that's what the motor's seeing. For a single power adder, twin screw Kenne bell or twin turbos for compounding, twin turbos or TVS. Twin screws should never be used for compounding. They become inefficient quick. How does a more efficient supercharger become inefficient? Should a 10% off sale of a Summit Pro LS rod and piston make me buy it? I'm on the fence. Do you need forged rods and pistons? David, I have a compound blown big block I'm about to fire up. Compound stuff is kind of cool. I mean, it definitely. I kind of thought it was going to have more views when I did it as a GWiz thing, but that's okay. Kenne Bell is going to be reintroducing some stuff. So reintroducing the 5-liter Ford kit and probably other stuff too. Maybe they might be updating it, and so I'm excited that we'll be seeing more stuff from them. Kenne Bell should be dominating the twin screw market. They must have bad marketing. I think that they just don't have a lot of marketing. Tempted to buy the Summit Pro LS stuff after Dad's crash. The Summit Pro LS stuff works really good. If you're going to buy the forged rods and forged piston stuff, judging by what we do on the stock stuff, any sort of forged thing is going to be way better. I lump things into categories: necessities and splurge items, clothes and food, or clothes, food, and sleep too, right? It's an extra. Blue collar, you have no audio? Everybody else has audio. Try signing off and signing back on. Here, let me turn up my. How's that? Koi and koi accessories. Are you Hank the Koi Man? Gail Banks has a dyno test demonstrating exactly what I'm talking about on his Duramax. Why do you think Whipple has been so successful in Kenne Bell? Seemingly was always at lower level of sales. I don't know what their sales figures are. I don't have any access to that. I know the thumbnail is pretty impressive. I'm halfway tempted to put a Kenne Bell back on the 3800 or on a 3800 because we did one a long time ago, and I'd like to do another one. Unfortunately, I think I destroyed that plate that I made, but it's not a difficult plate to make. Kenne Bell still make Buick stuff? I don't know if they do any of the OG Buick stuff anymore. Three boxes of shells. New info on the 7th Hellcat is teasing E85 and 1,000 horsepower. It will still lack traction. Yeah, that's definitely in the lack of traction area. Wish there were more options for LS stuff on the low buck side. What do you mean? Like for blower stuff? When I had my 70 GS, they were the only game in town. Yeah, those and TA Performance. Blue collar. I think that the intake manifold is probably the expensive part. Because there should be, I mean, what does it cost for a supercharger? It can't be very expensive. Oh, a stage 1 Buick GS. Yeah, that would be really cool. I always wanted one of those. I like those cars. I just don't like them quite as much as I like a Chevelle, though. Your Honda taking your titanium exhaust off, man. A GSX is a cool car, definitely. Yeah. Tim, yeah, you can send them. You can email them over to me. I put my email up a lot of times. Turbo Sentra. We were only talking about injector sizing, I thought. So it'd be 80 times 8 times 0.85. So how much power are you trying to make? Oh, taking it off a Z06, yeah. The titanium exhaust stuff is nice. 450 wheel horsepower, so 550. And you're running E85, right? Yeah, so it's going to take a lot to do that. So you're going to need like 1500s or something. 1000. So times times 0.85 times 0.75. Man, even that's, yeah, you're going to need 1500s. First car when I was 16 was a 69 Chevelle. Got it for $150 and 50 for a little 283. Nice. Uh, 6%. I don't know what you mean by thoughts. Doing that bypass tube mod. Okay. Yeah, Scott, I did good on Tesla today. Tesla and Amazon. Ooh, Tesla did go up to where I thought it was going to go up to. Man. Never up, never in. The Volvo crash has me nervous. Yeah, you don't want to break. You don't. What Freiberg always says is you don't want to drive over your crankshaft. I'm always on the wrong side, but at least you're consistent. So our poll is 82% yes. Would pick a twin screw over the Root supercharger. Yeah, I'm gonna, after I get off here, I'm gonna give Calvin a call and see what's going on. Calvin. New poll, should Tim buy Summit Ellis rods? Okay, let's do that. We're going to close out our poll at 82%. So we're going to do a new poll. I'm assuming he's going to buy pistons too, right? Okay, should Tim buy Pro Ellis rods and pistons? Okay, that's our that's our new poll. What the heck? We're here, right? Okay, Tim. Let's see what they're saying. Oh, the numbers are going down. 80%. Yeah, I'll say hey to everybody, or say hey to them from everybody. So what's up? What's up? No, I haven't heard anything new. I haven't talked to Ben about the car farm. They were talking about doing stuff on the dyno this week or this weekend. So hopefully we'll see something. He was going to let me know. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. I told him the last time we were talking that I wanted to call him while we were doing the live feed, and then he said, "Oh, dang, I didn't answer the phone." Let's try again.
Senor Ricardo.
Yo, Ben, what's up?
Nothing. What's going on?
I'm doing a live feed, so you're on the live feed.
Oh, hello, internet.
So I'm going to put you up so that hopefully they can hear. Let's see if I can finagle this so that they can. I need something to brace you guys. Here we go. I'm setting up my. Okay, there we go. Now people should be able to hear you.
Oh, great! Good for them. Lucky guys.
Can you guys all hear? Can you guys hear them? So the question is, what they want to know is, the questions that they're asking are, hey, when are we going to see some dyno numbers? What's going on with the Car Farm Omni?
The Bomni, Richard's Omni. I call it the Bomni because it's a blue Omni.
The GLHF.
Yeah, the CFXO. It's got 15 names.
The CFX 001.
Yeah, that's one of them. We like that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on with it? Well, I was just messaging the dyno owner. So the story goes that it's the most nearest dyno to the farm.
Yeah.
And but he hadn't been strapping customers' cars on this dyno. He's had some trouble with the dyno. And I know a lot of people don't know what my background is, but suffice it to say, I'm technical. So I am providing technical support.
He's an IT guy.
Kind of, yeah. But anyway, so we are going to strap the A car down on the dyno. We had to do some calibration or verify his calibration of the what's called a I can't get it out of my head now. Don't
worry about it.
Strain gauge.
Yeah.
We need the strain gauge to measure torque, and basically it's not much of a gauge. It's a piece of aluminum with some wire in it that, as a gauge or piece of aluminum is flexed, it varies resistance based on reference voltage.
Yeah.
So that'll give us a reading, and when that's not accurate or isn't working, your numbers might not be any good. And Richard loves delta, so he doesn't care if the number's 200 when it's really 500. Yeah, but when you're selling the service to customers, naturally you want your numbers to be accurate. Yeah. So I think not having one before and everything, they just wanted to be sure that everything was right. So I and another offered a couple of extra sets of eyes and opinions and recalibrations. I think we're figuring it may be actually accurate. I do still have some trepidation.
Yeah.
But we won't know until we try. We think the car is good. I think the car runs good. I think it makes the right power it's supposed to, although I can't really drive it around because it's not, legal.
Yeah.
But a
Because
couple
it makes
of
so much
farm road rips.
It makes so much power that it's not street legal. Is that why?
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
banned from NHRA competition.
Yes, that and the 351 Cleveland.
It's the Omni Demon.
That's right.
Of the day. So, but no, we will hopefully strap that one down mañana.
Okay, cool.
I was gonna bring a Porsche also.
Yeah.
An older. We have a couple of Porsches also. So I was gonna bring a lower power one.
Yeah.
To put on the dyno, just so we can, because we know what that one makes.
Yeah.
And that one's not messed with. And I also have my truck, but it's an automatic. So we want to put manual only cars on this thing because I do think that they might have been bouncing off the torque converter in their previous test and their high torque.
If they're doing drag race cars and with torque converters, that can become a problem.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like on the graph. It's like, oh my god, that thing made 1 million pounds of torque. No.
Yeah, I remember somebody telling me, and I think it was I think it was Kip, God rest his soul, who's not with us anymore, but it was the guy that I did my first story with, Kip Kington from Turbo Magazine. He had an automatic on his turbo 5-liter, and I remember him telling me, yeah, this thing makes like 80 horsepower at the tire and makes 860 foot-pounds. I'm like, those don't go together. that's not right. He's like, oh, what do you mean? It shows it right here. I'm like, yeah, but that's the torque converter flashing or something. I said, it's like a real thing. I mean, it probably feels like that from behind the wheel when you mash the gas on a turbocharged, high boost, drag race kind of Mustang deal. I said, but that math doesn't work. You can't have those two numbers like they are.
That's not a torque amplification.
Yeah, that's
torque amplifier.
Exactly. But so the short story for all of that is that maybe tomorrow we might see some dyno numbers.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot going on there. I think we're going to be pretty hectic trying to figure out how to film it, how to work the dyno, how to call you while we're doing it.
Yeah.
So all of that, and then we have some we have a little bit of shop management, I think, to assist with prior to putting the car in the rollers. But
okay,
so long as so long as we don't have any other unforeseen problems.
Yeah.
And I don't want to promise you.
No, I'm not looking for that.
Rule out the possibility that might be next week before. Like, what if we have some problem with the dyno and I got to spend the next 3 days?
No, I'm all good. I'm just looking. I'm just excited about the possibility of seeing that. And so the order of importance would be which
is more exciting, dynos or snakes on the farm?
Well, those go together. If I'm there, they definitely go together.
I haven't seen a snake since you left.
No,
it's a snake before you came, and I never saw. So
I bring them with me. I'm the snake whisperer.
I think you did.
Yeah. No, and so get the car on the dyno and run it on the dyno and get some numbers, and then all the other things that happen after that are just extras. Like, it doesn't have to be a big production to shoot it with. Just make sure that you shoot the car running on the dyno, and then you shoot an engine shot, and then you shoot the results. Because we were talking about that the other day. Nothing drives me nuts more than watching a YouTube video of a guy going, oh yeah, that thing sounds really good. And they never show the motor, they never show the tach, they never show the dyno screen, and never show the results. I'm like, I just want to come over there and strangle everyone that's in this video.
My language is stronger because it is the most frustrating thing when you watch a dyno video. I mean, you specifically go to the YouTubes and you search for dyno video. I want the result, dude. I don't want to see what your car looks like on rollers.
Yeah.
I want to know, what it makes. I mean, I was actually having problems earlier today. I was looking for same thing. I was looking for dyno numbers. I wanted to know. So if we do have time to get the Porsche on it, it's what's called a 996. If you're not a Porsche guy, that's the generation. So the marketing name would be a 911. So it would be a 90. What is it? A 91, 99, 911. It has a 3.4 in it.
Yeah.
And we're thinking it's going to make around I think it's a 300 horse car. something like that.
Okay.
And I searched for the dyno graphs and like, oh, here's what Fab Speed did after they ran it. I'm like, I don't care what they did after they ran it. It was maybe the same before they ran it, or before they made changes. We don't know. Because, it's hard to find numbers out there that are telling the story. So even with the 2.2 stuff and the GLHS stock stuff, we could probably find a couple of guys out there just because we're so plugged into that circle.
Yeah.
But
what year is that car that did you say?
For what?
What year is that Porsche?
The red Porsche is a 99.
99. Okay.
Yeah, it's the first water cooled. It's the one with the headlights that everybody hates. Why they're so cheap? They were cheap. And I have a newer one that makes more power. But I think for the dyno calibration, so this is a Dynocom dyno. It is the model is an 18,000. They don't make that particular model anymore.
Yeah.
But the other ones are very similar. There's other big YouTubers out there that use Dynocom dynos, and they seem to be very happy with them. So
yeah, so they're saying 296 horsepower is what the power rating is. So I'm thinking you're going to be 260 or something like that at the tire.
260, 270. Yeah. I'm hoping. It's got the muffler mod on it. There's some stupid name for it, but basically it equates to a gutted muffler.
Yeah.
And I don't know, cars, it's okay, but it's high mileage and I haven't really done anything with it. So
is this one air cooled or is it water cooled?
No, it's like I said, it's the first 99's first water cooled.
First year of the water cooled. Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's so hated by the purists.
Yeah.
But it's a good base car.
Yeah,
it's
Scott.
If you can get one, get one. Who cares
Scott,
what it looks like?
Scott
awesome.
actually mentioned something that we were talking about too. And I had somebody actually send me an email about this. Scott said his other pet peeve is mile an hour on the x-axis. Who cares? I want to see power and RPM. But the thing that drives me nuts is when people show horsepower and torque, except they're not on the same scale, so that they don't cross at 52.52. Because I had a guy bring this up. He said, "Is it ever possible for them not to cross?" I said, "No, it's not. Mathematically, it's not possible." I said, "What you're seeing on the graph is horsepower is on one scale and torque is on another scale, and so the way that they're representing them, they're not showing them on the same scale. If they show them on the same scale, which is way better and the way everything should be done, but if you show them on the same scale, they always cross at 52.52 because they have to mathematically, and it's a much better representation of what the curves actually look like." So that was it.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm sure people will want to see what my curves look like while we're dynoing the car, but we're going to keep it on the grass, I think, just for science.
Yeah, no, that's good.
It's a joke. I hope everybody got it.
Oh yeah, they do. All right, well, good. Let me know if and when you need me tomorrow, and I'll get on the phone and we can chat while you're doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually film with my phone. But there's another Faraday cage, so there's no coverage in here, but this place has internet, which I haven't touched yet or tied.
Yeah, I don't need to be there like on FaceTime or anything like that.
I need moral support, Rich.
Yeah, I'll electronically hold your hand.
Yeah, so that'll be great. And then if it goes really well, we do have I gotta remember to bring them some stage 2 modules.
Yes.
But it all depends on how our hookups go. If we get a wideband working properly, and because we want all the datas.
Yeah.
And boost hookup on there. So it might be a video of trial and error.
Well, and even if we just show if you hook up a gauge, I don't care if you hook up a gauge and tape it to the hood so that we can see what the boost is on the gauge. That's enough for me, because once you run it once in third gear, fourth gear, whatever, and remember I asked you to do both of those, but once you run it in that gear, when you run it, that boost is going to stay the same. You're going to go, okay, it goes up to a peak of 7 pounds. It would be nice to have a readout where it shows, oh, it's at 2,000 RPM or off idle like everybody wants. It's 3 pounds or 4 pounds or whatever, and then it climbs up to 7 pounds or 8 pounds, whatever it is. That'd be cool. But all I care about is, yes, the wastegate is opening. It's doing the thing that it's supposed to be doing. It's not going up to 20. It's not letting it only go to 4 pounds. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. really for this test, that would be enough. And having air fuel would be cool. But again, you know, if that doesn't happen, that's okay too.
So we do have that data collection box for the dyno. So there is an interface. It was damaged when I saw it. So I may do some electrical engineering mañana, but it may not be until a later time. But we will, yes, of course, at least have a boost gauge on the motor.
Yeah.
And we don't want that wastegate to open, Rich. I want it to stay closed. So we might have to weld it closed.
There you go.
It'll make more power for a while.
All right. Well, give me a call and let me know, man.
All right, buddy. I'll let you know how it goes. Enjoy your live stream.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, bud.
See you. Ben, live from the car farm. I ran a gauge under my wiper. I've done that many times. I've just had the wiper hold the thing in place. We have duct taped it. We've done all kinds of stuff. I really like the way that a gauge looks when you have it mounted on the hood, kind of like some of the old, like Pontiac had some of those like that. And I like the little LEDs like on the turbo Trans Ams and that kind of stuff. But you know, I'd be too worried about somebody just, even if they stole it, I wouldn't, because it's a cheap boost gauge or whatever, that would be okay. But having them just tear it off the hood would upset me. And having the like I said, having the horsepower and torque on the same scale, always, you have to have that. Otherwise it looks really, really dumb. I'm sure that will get run on the chassis down at West Tech. It will when it gets back, but it's not here yet. So we need something now. Should have had a pull. Did you start your first hot rodding by buying a Holly 600 vacuum carb, an adapter plate to put it on a spread bore intake manifold? That's oddly specific. So what happened, Tim? Should Tim buy Summit Pro LS pistons and rods? 78% are saying yes. So who is telling Tim not to buy rods and pistons? Are you guys thinking that it should just be stock stuff? You didn't vote, Tim? Well, 78% said yes. My boss had a Banks charger on his V10. The 6098 rods aren't off 10. They're not on sale. Only the 6125s. 6125s are better because they're longer. You know, because rod ratio. You're going to make more power with the 6125 rods. Building an LQ4 with 706 heads for towing, but I'm still on the fence with choosing a cam. I wish you could do another conclusive Chuck Norris versus Chupacabra cam. Quite honestly, I am going to do it, but quite honestly, I don't need to do it. You won't notice the difference between those cams. So either one that you pick, if you have one company that you like more than the other, you can find one on sale, you can get it, whatever. Either one of those cams is a win for you. So just get it. The only thing that me doing the test is you're going to be able to brag about 1 horsepower or 2 horsepower or whatever. If there is, if there is that, whatever the difference is, you're not going to be able to tell from this side of the motor. Unless you're doing 1 million horsepower. The other thing I did today is I sent Tony a message. I guess he think he just broke some mod motor that he was trying to run. I think the one in the Lincoln. And so I asked him if I built a turbo V10, if he would put it in something and run it. So we'll see. Just considering the upgrade due to the sale, then an added level of security. And here we are peer pressuring you. I'm sure that the Summit guys would be happy. Let's see what's happening. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. So you've gone down. Now you are going to go back up, aren't you? Yes, you are. Who's a good little stock, huh? Who's a good little stock? Down, then up, down, and then up. Now you're going to go down, and then you're going to go back up. This is how we do it. Couple more minutes, dudes. I'm excited. I'm excited about the prospect. It's Friday, first of all. And then also about the prospect of, I love dyno stuff. I love dyno results. Taking care of some business. Rain, North Carolina. We're supposed to get rain over the weekend too. There used to be a shop in Arizona that put V10s and Crown Vics. I think it called them Super Interceptors. Cool. I want a twin screw for my O2 Trans Am. I don't know that Kenny Bell does the LS stuff, and I told him that he could, but for some reason he was like the Ford stuff better, even though the LS, as we know, the LS engine family and the market for LS is 10 times what it is for Fords. Super speed. I got a question for a future vid. I'm trying to build my. I got a question for a future video. I'm trying to build my truck, but I don't know which engines are better between a 4853, 6062. I know that the Gen 4 is best, but I don't know too much like what engine is best. Here's the thing. I don't know what you mean by best. So what is your definition of best? What is it you're trying to do with the truck? And we can tell you what engine you'll be able to achieve and why you would get different engines. The 6.0 and 6.2 are going to be way more expensive. The 4.8 and 5.3 are available everywhere. Are you going to run boost on it? Do you want to run a cam? What is it you want to do? And one of those isn't the best. So we can solve whatever thing that you want to achieve, and we'll tell you how to do it. Just let us know what the thing is that you're trying to achieve. So if you're trying to run a turbo on it, tell us how much power you're trying to make. More than likely, if you're looking for any kind of realistic power level, a Junkyard 5.3 with a cam and springs in it is the way to go. And that will do what you need to do. You don't need a 6-liter or a 6.2 or a 4.8. If you like 4.8s, if you have a 4.8, you can also make lots of power with a 4.8 or an 8.4. Let's see how we're doing. How are we doing? How are we doing? No whammies, no whammies. Yes. Did what I thought it was going to do, and it rose up. Man. Super speed. Just stop thinking about the individual parts. Tell us how much power you want and what you're trying to do with it, and then we can tell you how to achieve that. Scott, my stuff is already done. I was just looking at it. I'm already out. I'm already out housing 5,000. And for me, it's like I said, it's more of an analytical thing. Bam, bam, bam. 1999 Porsche 911 horsepower rating, 296 horsepower. I missed a $350 Christmas sale at VS Racing. Well, a GT45 is less than $350, right? Oh, I know it. I know it tonight's. I have a. Okay, I have the next poll for tonight. It'll be interesting to see. I want something that could daily drive but still go fast in. Right, RN. I'm thinking that's right now, but in the future when I go full racing, want to make high horsepower like 2,000 plus. Okay, you can't have that. You're not going to have a daily driver that's also 2,000 horsepower unless you want to spend lots and lots of money, because a 2,000 horsepower motor is going to be very, very expensive. And the thing that's going to be even more expensive is the 2,000 horsepower transmission and the drive shaft and the rear end and the axles and the suspension and the chassis and everything. So that's probably not realistic. Richard, do you play the California lottery? We have sometimes. I usually buy my sons and my wife them for for Christmas, and then we have a few times when it's got really, really big. Because really, if you're only going to win 100 or a couple $100 million, it's not even worth playing, because it's not like that would change my lifestyle at all. I wouldn't be able to quit my job, but when it's 2 billion, that could make a change. Super speed, what you should do is put together a 5.3 from the wrecking yard with cam and springs and a turbo, and get it tuned and get a transmission that works with 600 or 700 horsepower, and then see how all that works out, and then go up from there. That would be my recommendation. Bam, 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 bam. Bear, 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 bear. Bear, near, near, near. I'm scrolling. Ooh, let's go to live chat for the less than 1 minute that I have left. I don't really see stuff that I'm missing, though. I know, Tim, you're still on the fence about buying some rods and pistons, right? Bear, 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 bear. Broke wheels. No, 2,000 horsepower is realistic. It's actually very realistic. Actually, making that power is not that's the easiest part of, and it's probably the least expensive part of the whole equation. Making 2,000 horsepower live a really long time is the expensive part, And then all the other 2,000 horsepower stuff is really expensive. Yes, let's not count out safety stuff. Let's not count out safety. Safety is very important. That's the most important thing. Having good brakes. That's very important. Big power. And on that note, remember, you have to tune in tonight to see what this new poll is. And it involves me. So you should be interested. Not really. Thank you guys, as always, for showing up. Cool to hang out. And we got to talk to Ben from the car farm. Hopefully tomorrow. That'd be cool if he gets that. If he gets this dyno situation working, that would be awesome. I'll be able to get to see some dyno numbers and some boost. I'll see you guys all tonight. Time to go see the puppies.